Everyone thinks I'm living the dream. You sold everything to live on a cruise ship? You're so lucky. I hear that all the time, and honestly, for a while I thought so too. But after 3 years of this, I learned the dream has some unexpected realities. I traded my house, my car, my whole land-based life for an endless horizon and a new port every few days. The number one challenge isn't the tiny cabin or the occasional rough seas. It's the unique form of loneliness that the brochures don't prepare you for. For every stunning sunset, there's a complex truth the fantasy doesn't show you. I'm not here to sell you a dream or to complain. I'm here to share what it's really like. These are the surprising, challenging, and expensive sides of living on cruise ships year-round that nobody talks about. So before you sell your house, you need to see the full picture. Let's bust the first myth that living on a cruise ship is a non-stop social paradise. In many ways it is. Every cruise starts with a wave of excited, happy people coming aboard. You meet fascinating people, share dinners, and have these amazing conversations. You feel like you're collecting friends from all over the world. But then the cruise ends, and they all leave, and you're left standing there as you prepare to say goodbye over and over. It's a revolving door of temporary relationships. You learn that many friendships you make have an expiration date, and you learn to appreciate them for the moment they are in. It's hard to build deep connections with someone who will be a memory in a few days. You're surrounded by thousands of people, yet you can still feel profoundly isolated. This isn't like moving to a new town where you can slowly build a community. On a ship, your community literally disembarks. You miss things back home, birthdays, holidays, funerals. You get pictures and texts, but you're an observer of the life that you used to be a part of. That constant cycle of hellos and goodbyes is emotionally taxing. It's a unique kind of isolation, being a permanent resident in a world designed for temporary guests. If you want more real, unfiltered truths about life at sea, make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss what's next. The next myth is that by traveling the world, you become more connected to it. After 3 years, I've found the exact opposite can be true. When I do go back to Canada for visits, I realize how out of touch from reality I am. It's a strange feeling, like being a visitor in your own past life. My real friends and family don't even call anymore. They figure they can see what I'm up to through my YouTube videos. The disconnect is real, even on the ship. People will make references to things happening in the news or popular TV shows, and I have absolutely no clue what they're talking about. We don't get updated movies or all of the TV channels on board, so you exist in a strange pop culture lag. People on the ship are also in vacation mode, which means our conversations, by default, become superficial or stuck in that same holiday energy. You talk about weather, the ports, the food, but rarely about real life. It's a bizarre paradox. You're physically seeing the world, but you're cut off from the daily pulse of it. People often have no idea what part of the world I'm in unless they're glued to my social media. You live inside of a bubble that floats from one beautiful place to another. Number 3. Everyone sees the photos of exotic ports and thinks this life is one non-stop adventure. Sometimes it is. But when this is your actual life, not a one-week vacation, you start to see the repetition behind the magic. Many long-termers call it the Groundhog-Day Effect. Now, I offset this by weaving together long itineraries, at least 10 days at a time, often back-to-back before switching ships for another month. This helps, but the cycles are still there. The dining room menus, the nightly shows, the port excursions, they all repeat. The comedian who was hilarious the first time is not so much by the fifth. Your world, which seems to be huge, can actually become incredibly small. Your home is a cabin, often under 200 square feet, and at the same time, you learn to see the ship themselves as a destination. Each one has its own personality, its own hidden corners, and its own community of crew members. But the ship, no matter how grand, is your entire universe. You start to crave the simplest land-based freedoms, like walking through a different grocery store, or the ability to just get in a car and drive. If you're curious about what living in such small spaces is really like, I have a full tour of my cabin in another video for you. Okay, let's talk about the money. This is where the fantasy meets a hard reality check for most people. You hear stories of people living on a cruise for under $2,000 a month. And while some manage it with extreme budgeting, that's not the typical experience on mainstream lines. The idea that this is cheaper than a modest life on land is a common misconception. The sticker price is just the cover charge. The real cost is in the thousands of little cuts that are relentless and unavoidable. Mandatory gratuities can cost hundreds of dollars to your monthly bill. Wi-Fi isn't free, and it's not cheap. You can pay upwards of $30 a day for a spotty connection. Do you want to do some laundry? Self-serve laundromats are rare on newer ships, so you may be paying by the bag or by the item, and a single load could easily cost you $30. And beyond that, everything is an upsell. That $14 cocktail by the pool has an automatic 18 to 20% service charge slapped on top. Specialty dining, coffee, sodas, and even bottled water. It adds up. These feel like small splurges on a vacation, but they will bleed into your budget. It'll make your budget dry in your daily life. The annual cost for many is between $35,000 and $104,000 per person. I break down our exact costs in another video, so numbers are what you're looking for. Definitely check that one out. So, after 3 years, would I do it all again? Absolutely, but this is not the simple paradise sold in the brochures. It's a more complex and in some ways more rewarding reality than that. It's a trade-off. You trade deep roots for widespread experiences. You trade a conventional community for 1,000 fleeting connections. You trade stability for constant motion. Life at sea has taught me more about myself than I ever imagined, and it's shown me what's truly important. This lifestyle isn't for the faint of heart, and it's not for everyone. The truth is, it demands a very specific person, someone fiercely independent, financially secure, and genuinely comfortable with a life of constant goodbyes. So I'll leave you with this question. Could you trade deep roots for a life of constant goodbyes? Well, let me know your honest answer in the comments. And if you want more real, unfiltered truths about life at sea, please make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.